Hey, what's up? It's Jared with State of Tech, and this is my full review of the Surface Pro, the 2017 model, or the Surface Pro 5, or whatever you want to call it. I have it here. I have the i5 version with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, and I went with this option because it is the most beefy version that you can get with no fan inside. If you go into the i7, you're going to end up with a fan, which is fine, but the battery life's going to be a little bit less on the fan performance because of the fan, and also it's a bit more expensive, and I just wanted something extremely quiet. I had a Surface Pro 3, and that thing was extremely loud. The fan was so loud in it, and I know that they've improved that in the i7. I was actually able to take a look at an i7, hear the fan noise, and it's extremely quiet. But I did opt for this version because the price is a lot better, and I wasn't getting this to replace a laptop. I was getting this to be kind of that intermediate space between carrying my big Dell XPS 15 and having a tablet. And my problem is that I've had tablets. I've always had a tablet since they've came out, but I just don't end up using it. So my thought was, with this right here, I would get the tablet world and I would get the laptop world. I wouldn't get the heavy performance of my Dell XPS 15 that has a quad-core i7 and a GTX 1050 in it, but I would get better performance than a tablet and more usability because this has full Windows and all that stuff. So, I'll talk a little bit about that, but I wanted to talk about the device in and of itself. Now, having jumped from the Surface Pro 3 to this is fantastic. I mean, I really did like the Surface Pro 3. I just couldn't find a use for it. I couldn't make it my default laptop. Like, it just wasn't powerful enough. And that's still the case here. Like, this isn't powerful enough to be my default laptop. I'm not going to edit video from this. I'm not going to game from this or anything like that. But could this be that intermediate where I don't have to take my Dell XPS with me anymore because I have what I need in this small, convenient package? What's really great about this device is that it's beautiful. I mean, the display is great. You got the 12.3-inch pixel sense display with a decent resolution, 2736 by 1824. The touch is extremely good on this when you're using it as a tablet. It's super responsive. If you pair it with a pen, which is an additional purchase, and the keyboard, which is an additional purchase, it just makes the device even more useful. The pen, I've always liked the idea of having a digital pen for taking notes and doing stuff like that. I have found that using this as a writing surface is just, I haven't been able to get used to that. And that's more of a me thing. It's not so much anybody else. I know people that really use their tablets like this as a writing device, and it works out really well for them. But where this works out amazingly is with the pen here. I give it a double tap when it's nearby. It takes a screenshot of whatever window I have, and then I can start annotating on it right away. I absolutely love that because it's very often that I am sending screenshots, I'm, annotating on stuff and sending them to clients for approval, or, showing them how to do something. I mean, there's a lot of time when we have to, scan something, write on something and scan it, print it out, scan it. It's just a big mess. It's very easy to do all those things on here. And it's just, they've really done a good job. Microsoft's done a good job of Windows Ink and that whole interface. Just as like Samsung with their Note line of phones has done a really good job of integrating a stylus into a mobile platform. Like Windows, there just is no better experience here. And even if you wanted to compare the experience, the writing experience, the experience of using a stylus with this and an iPad, this is much more useful. Sure, an iPad, the Apple Pencil is really good, it's world-renowned or whatever, but the integration of the stylus into the operating system in Windows is just so much better. With that double tap, ready for a screenshot, opens everything up. I've got, I can use it anywhere on without being in specific apps. which, yeah, you can use, an Apple Pencil to swipe around and stuff, but you really can't use it for much unless you're in a specific app that makes it useful to use. Here, you have basically universal use of the pen throughout the entire Windows experience, and there's a lot more reasons why you would use it on something like this than you would on an Apple device. Plus, it's magnetic. It snaps right to the side. This magnet here is much stronger than it ever has been, which means I could put this in my bag. It can move around a little bit inside my bag, and the pen is still there when I take it out of my bag. That definitely didn't happen on the Surface Pro 3. And with the Apple Pencil, where are you even going to put it? The Apple Pencil, you have to figure out somewhere to put it. It's way too big to fit in a standard pen slot or something like that. I'm always afraid I'm going to bend it or snap it. So it was just, the Apple Pencil, I don't even want to talk anymore about that. So anyways, here, this particular Surface Pro, comes in i3, i5, or i7, 4 gigs on up to 16 gigs. You get full Windows, you get Windows Pro, which is great. It also has ambient light sensor, accelerometer, gyroscope, so it has some of the tablet-y things. And with the ambient light sensor, it definitely helps by auto-adjusting the display. Solid-state drive in this from 128 gigs on up to 1 terabyte. This particular model maxing out at 256, which is fine. It wouldn't be enough for my daily driver type device that I use every day, but it's definitely plenty for, my average use. And so definitely cool there. This device is extremely light. Even the i7 maxed out version is 1.73 pounds. This model right here is 1.7, a little bit lighter because of the loss of the fans. But it's extremely light. It is a little heavy to hold as a tablet and for a long period of time, maybe to watch a show. But with the kickstand off the back, you don't even have to do that. You can prop it up, kick back, watch a show, put it on your lap, whatever, and it's a fantastic media consumption device. You're supposed to be able to get 13.5 hours of video playback there. I don't know anybody that really watches 13.5 straight hours of video, so it's plenty of playback time for your occasional binge watching of some Netflix shows, and then, of course, with enough power left over to check your email and get caught up on that work that you didn't do while you were binge watching Netflix. So with that battery life, I think that they've done a great job here by optimizing the system and everything so that you get good battery life. It's better than what you would get out of a standard laptop, and it's even better and on par with what you would get out of an extremely thin tablet. So, where this doesn't have a whole lot of performance is in the graphics card. You're not going to get a good performance in the graphics card out of most 2-in-1 type devices like this. The M3 version comes with a 615 HD Intel graphics. This is the 620, and then you get the Iris Plus 640 on the i7. And while that's definitely powerful enough for your moderate, average, everyday use, it's not powerful enough for gaming, and it's not powerful enough for video editing. You're going to end up sitting here forever waiting for your videos to render out. And with gaming, you're definitely not going to see anything over 40 frames per second on even the lightest weight games. You're just not going to get that good performance. There are definitely people that have created some videos showcasing gaming performance on this, and it's just not there. It definitely is going to allow you to game, but you're just not going to be able to game that well. I don't think that people buy this for gaming, so I don't think that really matters. So onto the connections, and this is where I'm a little frustrated with the device, but nonetheless, that's where we are. It has one USB-A 3.0 port or 3.1 port. So you have USB, full USB, but you don't have USB Type-C, which is a bummer because a lot of devices I have these days, including my monitor, is USB Type-C. It does have a mini display port for those of you still who have monitors that are mini display. Most monitors still even come with mini display, so that's a pretty current option, but you could still go USB-C to mini display. That's what I would prefer to do, because if I'm buying a device at this price point and planning to use it for a few years, I want it to have what's available now for the future, not what is at the tail end of its life, which is micro display port. You also have the Surface Connect cover port, and then a 3.5 headphone jack up here, which, you know, it's an okay place for a headphone jack, but when you have your headphones plugged in, they just want to drape over you and the keyboard, and I'd prefer them to be at the bottom where they just kind of run along the table and they're kind of out of your way. I understand why it's here, just because of the different ways you can orientate the device, but I would prefer it to be down at the bottom. That's just me. So, you know, this particular device that we see right here without the pin and the keyboard is $12.99. They have cheaper versions. They have more expensive versions. You have to add the pin if you want the full Surface experience, which is $100. And then you have to add the keyboard if you want the laptop-esque experience, if you want it to be more than a tablet. Even though they call it a laptop without the keyboard, it's really not a complete laptop without the keyboard. Now let's talk about the keyboard really quick. I do really like it. I love the feel of the Alcantara, I think is what they're calling it, finish. It definitely has a nice plush finish. It'll be interesting to see what this feels like after 6 months or a year of use. The trackpad is nice. It's a little small, but it does work really well. I've definitely gotten used to big trackpads on bigger devices. The key travel is good, especially being this is so small. Having any key travel at all is great. Other tablet kind of cover keyboards have a lot less travel or maybe no travel at all, and I definitely like the way this feels. It gives me the feel of having a laptop without having the bulk of a laptop, so I definitely like that. So, you know, there are use cases for a device like this, and there are reasons why you would or wouldn't necessarily want one. And I put videos together for those. There's top 5 reasons why you should buy one, top 5 reasons why you shouldn't. And I have, you know, kind of an argument for both there. For me, I bought this because I wanted it, like I said earlier, to be that intermediary device between carrying my big laptop and using my phone. And I found that it definitely is a good intermediate device like that. You know, for me, I need something that I can do some heavy lifting from, so I wouldn't be able to survive on this, which is why I went with the i5. Even the i7 wouldn't be enough for me if I was going to edit video. I would, you know, I'd have to let it sit overnight and render out, and it might not even be done when I woke up in the morning. I just can't survive on a device like this. Using it as a tablet was just a fun experience. I definitely love the pen experience. I love being able to double click and go straight into annotations, and just the pen experience is great. I love the way that they integrated that, as I talked about earlier. I really can't give enough accolades to this device because Microsoft really has this niche figured out. I mean, sure, there are 2-in-1 foldable, flip-over, convertible laptops, but I just don't like the experience of having to hold something and having the keys on the back. It just feels weird. And all that additional bulk when really you just wish you could take the keyboard off and set it aside, and that's what they give you here with this experience. Yes, there are cheaper alternatives to something like this, but you're not going to get the performance, you're not going to get the portability that you would get, and you're not going to get the Surface experience for your creative needs out of this as well. So, you know, there are special use cases for this, which is why I put together those 2 separate videos. So if you're interested, go check those out. For now, I think that's going to do it for my video review. I definitely like what Microsoft has done here. I don't necessarily think that I could exist on this unless I changed the way that I do things. I definitely am the type of person that ends up having several applications opened at a time because I'm jumping between them. Maybe I'm waiting for something on one, so I jump over to another. I like having my email client opened all the time. I like having Slack opened all the time. And so I have some things opened, and that really becomes a challenge for a dual-core processor, whether it's an i5 or an i7. The more things that you add, it starts to choke that out. You know, the RAM isn't as good a performance as it would be on a HQ quad-core type or even a U-series, higher-end U-series processor. But, you know, this is really good. I really can't complain about it. In every instance that I've used it, except for trying to actually use it as a laptop in my lap, because it does become a little wobbly, it's just been fantastic, and I really like it. So definitely check out those 2 other videos where I talk about the 5 reasons why you should or shouldn't buy one, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Give us a thumbs up on this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to our channel here on State of Tech if you want to be notified when we put out other videos. Thanks so much for checking out State of Tech, and we hope to see you soon.